You're listening to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast, episode 25. Welcome to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast, where positivity and spirituality create an enhanced life's journey with the wisdom of Ifa and Orisha. I am your host, Iya Omileti Olubumi. Welcome to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast. I am Iya Omileti. Happy New Year to you. I do hope that you had a great year-end with your family and close friends. Also, thank you for spending some of your time with me to talk about all things Orisha, spirituality, and growth. So, grab a cup of tea, coffee, something to drink, and let's chat. Today's episode is being brought to you by our own Orisha Wisdoms or reaffirmations. Do you want to connect with your Ori? This is a free resource available just for you. So go to orishawisdom.com/ORI1, Ori1, and get your resource. I want to thank all of you who listen in and support the podcast. When you get a moment, look us up on iTunes and leave a comment and a review. It means a lot to me, and I read each and every one. In the meantime, I want to give a shout out to Memento1, who writes, I have become addicted. I wish I found her before I received my hand of kofa. Thank you so much for listening, Memento1, and for the time that you took to write us your comment. I'm glad that you love our podcast, and we are very happy to have you as part of this amazing community. So remember, leave us your comments and we may give you a shout out right here on the Orisha Wisdom Podcast. For those who are new to the podcast, Ask a Priest is a series on the podcast which is directly working with you, the community. Coming into the traditions can be, well, it could be scary, it could be tough, it could be a whirlwind. And what is bound to come about? Questions and more questions and more questions. So I created a series called Ask a Priest, where you get to write one of your burning questions about the Orisha traditions, and there is a chance that your question will be answered here on the podcast. I hope that you enjoy this mini episode of Ask a Priest. So let's get this going. Martine Felton asks, how does one know when they are ready for initiation? First of all, Martine, thank you so much for submitting your question. And that is a great question. It should be one of the first ones that you should ask and maybe get an answer from early on, sort of maybe. So here it goes. There is only one way that is most certain, and it comes by with divination. And if you really want to get the final of all answers, asking Ifa is the way to go. That is the shortest of answers. But I want to add a few things that are important for you to know. There may be many situations, and I'm going to talk about a few. Let's say that you are at a bembe or a drumming, and some priest or priestess is possessed with their Orisha, and they may tell you that you need to initiate, and some will even tell you that you need to do it right away. So what do? The response is you go to divination and verify. The response is you go to divination and verify. What if you are at an event and it comes out of a priest's feelings, like they got a feeling that you need to initiate? The answer is that you go to divination and verify. Here's another scenario. What if you are at a misa, is what we call white table, and someone gets their premonitions, or someone mounts an egung or a spirit guide, and they tell you that you must initiate? Do you run then and start buying your white clothes now? The answer is that you go to divination and verify. What kind of divination? Sorry, those tarot cards are not qualified to give the final say-so for this question. The candles isn't either, or a fire pot, neither is the cup of water. A feeling is definitely not sufficient. A dream by you or someone that you know or high priest so-and-so is not enough, and one must definitely not leave a very important decision to a feeling or a dream. One has to go to the oracle for this. A spiritual reading without the proper Orisha traditions oracle is not sufficient. You must have a reading with a responsible, bona fide, real initiated Orisha priest. And even after that, it is very wise to go to Ifa to get the final word of what you are trying to verify. From a competent Awo or Babalawo or Iyanifa. One who is in the traditions that you are seeking to go after. That's also very important. If you are interested in Isheshe, then seek out in there. If you're interested in Lukumi, then go in there. Go to an Ifa priest in there. And remember, there are many lineages and branches under each of these. If you're going through Isheshe or if you're going through Lukumi, the Oduns are read similarly. So the answer that you get for that tradition is going to work. Know that if you are meant to be a priest, it's going to happen. It will come out in your journey. I remember my very first reading with Ifa. All Ifa told me at that point was that I was meant to be here. I didn't even talk about initiation, although I did ask because, of course, that is what I wanted to know. But sometimes the oracle will not share with you what you want to know because it is not meant for you to know at that time. There is a much bigger, rhyme and reason, and Orisha knows best on it. For example, if it would have come out right away for me, I probably would have rushed and I would have made a really bad choice on godparent or jumped into the priest who I was working with or someone or actually anyone for that matter, because I would now be in a rush and in a pressure to initiate. Most people say that they're not, but when that comes out, it's like they really start rushing to try to get initiated by any means necessary. Responses through divination are not always given to you in one lump sum, but more like in bites, which are small enough for you to deal with. Looking back, if I would have gotten everything in one shot, it would have been a bit overwhelming. I just wasn't ready for it all back then. As much as I wanted to know, and trust me, I really, really, really wanted to know, it just wasn't the time for me. Back to the whole priest thing. I want to go back to that. Why? Because not everyone is meant to be a priest in our traditions. Only a few Oduns speak of this. It's really not that common. Could you imagine everybody was initiated? That would be a little crazy. The answer is very simple, but sometimes folks want to run around the ultimate say. They basically don't want to get the proper readings for fear or not to hear what they don't want to hear. Remember that not everyone was born to be a priest, and that is okay. If you only come to earth to be a follower and strengthen your life that way versus having to go through all the steps and the process that a priest has to undergo, believe me when I tell you, it is perfect. It's totally okay to stay a follower. When the time comes, just see what the oracle says. Remember that even if you are meant to initiate, it may not be revealed to you right away. Everything comes to us in divine timing, not a moment sooner. If we force things, they may show up, but not in its divine order and not with our best interest. And if you do force something along, it may not be the same experience that you would have had should you have waited for your divine timing. Again, how do we know if we have to initiate? Through divination. In the Orisha traditions, the Dilogun and through Ifa. There is just no other way to know for certain. None. Martine, there you go. I hope that you found the response useful in your journey. I cannot thank you enough for the time that you took to ask this question. To all of you, I hope that you enjoyed today's Ask a Priest episode. Did you like it? Let me know by leaving a comment. And of course, if you loved it, if you liked it, share it. That is always best. Like my son says, sharing is caring. I would also like to ask that if you have 5 minutes, leave us a review on iTunes, as they are really helpful into keeping the Orisha Wisdom podcast on the map. Do you have a burning question that you've been dying to ask an Orisha priest? Send me an email at light@orishawisdom.com or pop into our Facebook group called the Orisha Wisdom Community. And on the search tool, which is on the left-hand side at this point on Facebook, because they change everything all the time, just look for Ask a Priest, and there should be several threads. Ask your question there, and we will take a look and consider it to answer it here on the podcast. For the show notes of this episode, go to www.orishawisdom.com/25. I will put all of these links in here as well so that you don't have to write anything right now if you can't. Stay tuned for the next episode where we will be discussing getting our Oris in the right framework for the new year. I'm really looking forward to that episode because it is something that we can all use in our lives. If you haven't seen our Ori affirmations or the information that we have on Ori, pick yours up at orishawisdom.com/Ori1. and get yours. This is the best time to get started because we're in the beginning of a brand new year. It is amazing just to get your mind in order, to get it aligned so that you make the best decisions that you can for yourself and use them. Use them on a daily. Use the best affirmations that you can. And use some of the empty space to write your own affirmations. Things that you need. For example, if you have no job, I am very grateful to the universe that I have employment right now. Always speak in the present tense or if you have already attained it. But pick up your resource so that this that I just mentioned is a little more clear. And put the knowledge, put that wisdom into your life. It really can help to change it for the better. As I've mentioned before, the cat is out of the hat. And you may have seen a couple of things on some survey talking about 2 cents. If you've seen anything like that, by now you know. Well, by now you should know that I love polls and surveys and stuff like that. It's fun to me. It's been something that I've been working on, but I am really excited to find out what you think about Orisha traditions greeting cards. Yes, I'm telling you, I'm really excited. I'm basically cheesing from ear to ear right now. But I can't bring anything to life without knowing first what you guys think about it or what you don't think about it. And I've created a super easy link, orishawisdom.com/cards. It doesn't get any easier than that. Let me know. Go through there, fill out the short survey. Let me know because I want to create something that is amazing and that you guys really can use. I think it would be awesome to have something that we can share within our own community instead of just something that is generic and then we have to write in our thoughts because nothing really falls within the Orisha traditions. Again, don't worry. I will put all the links on the show notes at orishawisdom.com/25. Until next time, may the elevated ancestors and all Orisha bless you immensely. Odabo!
Thank you for listening to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast. Be sure to check out the show notes at orishawisdom.com/podcast. Can't get enough of Orisha Wisdom? Check us out at orishawisdom.com and subscribe to our community. Remember, the wisdom of Ifa and Orisha is all around us. Be blessed, and until next time.